Are you good? All right, it's 5:30. We're ready to conduct business. Uh, If you would, Ms. Bowman, if you would call the roll, please, in the absence of Commissioner.
Greg
Brothers.
Vick.
Here.
Wayne Hart.
Here.
Janice Brothers. Kenan Threet.
Here.
Whit Lee.
Here. All right, we have four present enough to conduct business. Have a motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Vick,
Second.
second by Mr. Threet.
Mr. Chairman. Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I was going to remind about the training, the vote, to vote in the train, but it's already on the agenda. So I was just going to, all right, so.
All right, I
sorry
have a
about that.
motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Passed unanimous. Thank you. All right. Public comment period, and Ms. Fan and Ms. Kimbrough, what we usually do, if it's agreeable with you, is you speak now for 3 minutes, or you can wait until we actually open this thing up and speak then. A lot of times after we read the thing, staff has their comments, and the individual has their comments. It'll help you to find the questions you may have, if that's agreeable with y'all. You'll still get to speak. Okay, all right, thank you. New business, election of officers 2026.
Mr. Chairman, I would make.
At the same level of compensation?
Yes, the same level of
Okay,
compensation.
all
So
I have,
zero.
I have a second by Mr. Hart. All in favor?
Aye.
Pass unanimous. All right, next item is the, accept the training held by the city of Shelbyville and online training held by Ian Preston in the ethics class for fiscal year 25-26. Whitley, 4 hours, Greg Vick, 2.5 hours. Have a motion, please?
Move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Vick, second by Mr. Hart. All in favor?
Aye.
Pass unanimously. Katie Franklin, Ms. Franklin. Okay. Katie Franklin, 105 Eb Joyce Road, tax map 031, parcel 038.01, a total of 0.5 acres, zoned A1. This is a grandfathered lot of record that's situated at or near the intersection of Eb Joyce and Highway 231 across from the Midway Diner. Staff.
The applicant seeks approval of a special exception to allow a neighborhood shopping facility as provided for in the Bedford County zoning resolution under Article 4, Section 4.041, C8. It basically says the maximum total retail sales area does not exceed 4,000 square foot. It has a permitted categories which she will sell that includes hardware, agricultural, household goods, clothing, food, etc. The property description, because I think that's, what's in the question here, is the subject property is a grandfathered non-conforming lot of record containing a small frame residence located at a prominent highway intersection. The surrounding area includes a commercial restaurant directly across Ed Joyce Road, a church and convenience center across Highway 231, a county trash collection center across the highway, a commercially zoned mini storage facility, an additional church immediately north of the property, numerous large-scale commercial operations located to the south along Highway 231, single-family homes, and agricultural lands. Staff finds no objection to the request and recommends approval of the special exception as submitted, subject to the compliance with all applicable provisions of the zoning resolution.
Board, do you have any questions of staff?
Mr. Chairman, I have several questions. First of all, that lot is not a half acre. That's only about a .30 acre lot. Secondly, that property is situated not on 231. There is a barrier property there on that. It has been rental property for a number of years. I don't know how the parking is going to be addressed in there. I'm concerned that the special exceptions that we grant to this property would then go forward with whoever owns this property. So if this business comes in and for 6 months, not that they would, hopefully they would stay, but if they didn't and they went out of business and someone else would come in there, they assume those very same rights that we're giving to them. Is that a correct interpretation?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
If we make the decision to rezone or grant this exception, then anybody else from henceforth can come in and use that property in that fashion.
Yeah, and to be more specific, what would be granted, it's not a rezoning, and the applicant should know that. It's not the same as a rezoning, but what it would allow is in perpetuity, the same exact thing that they've applied for. So essentially, if they moved out of it and somebody else wanted to rent it and do exactly the same thing that they're doing, they would be able to do that. But they couldn't convert it to another, say, commercial use, because it's not technically zoned commercial. You've just granted a specific use permit.
So it's not commercial rezoning we're doing. We're specifically granting a specific use exception that isn't addressed in our manual now. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's true. And so, of course, when we look at something, whether it has a potential for rezoning or not, we're really kind of looking at it in general terms, because obviously people sitting here on the board know that the county commission is who makes those legislative actions. We just, will support or deny or support or not support something based on what we find in the book and things recent. I think all those items were listed as far as nearby uses. But just to kind of give you guys, and I know because of where you live, but just to give you an idea of the types of commercial activity that's kind of surround it, and Commissioner Vick is correct. It's not the lot that sits on the corner of 231 and Ed Joyce. It's the next one. Both of them are relatively small lots, and but there's not, the first lot on the corner is not an improved lot, so it kind of sits vacant. And we just, if we went to the county commission as a rezoning, this is, I think, something I think we would have supported just because of its proximity to the restaurant and all those things. And it's not so far down Ed Joyce that it would kind of take itself out of like a commercial corridor. That's the reason why we made that statement on the agenda.
I'm just concerned that the traffic on 231 is heavy. Our red light up there has helped some. We're putting a business in there on a 0.30 acre lot that is fenced in with horses on this side, a restaurant over here, a main circulator road, which is Ed Joyce, a critical road that's been designated, state highway here, our 231 North business corridor comes all the way up through there, and we're trying to maintain businesses in there and residential around it so that we don't have all these little encroachment areas. So that gives me a little heartburn on that. And I don't know, Mr. Chairman, if other people have questions, but I know other people here would like to speak on that. So however you want to do that.
We will get into that. Does any other board member have a question for staff or a question specifically about this? And Ms. Franklin, at this point, at some point, we'll get you to kind of define your business plan a little better. So, and that may help some of the neighbors' concerns. But do any of y'all have any more questions for staff? Ken?
How many excuse me, I'm sorry.
I heard you, but they did.
Yes, I understand. How many parking spaces are going to be available if this lot is this small? I ask how many parking spaces are going to be available in the parking area. Your lot is.
There will be approximately.
Big technology too. You're going to have. We apologize. We used to be pretty informal.
The way the driveway goes up, they would be coming in like this, and we're going to like kind of mark off the spaces. So we would probably say at least what we figured would be 8 to 10 could get in there, but we would probably never have that many. I am from another store that I ran up in Christiana, with even the same thing. In that type of store, we usually had maybe 6 at the most at one big time. So it's not like we would need a lot of parking, but probably 8 to 10 can get there where we're going to designate them off. And we're going to make sure that we put a barrier from where their property is to that line so nobody would be going into their property.
Are you the owner of the property?
No, that's Katie.
You're the owner of the property, okay. All right, and this is your tenant? that's
Yes, sir.
being
Me
there.
and Miss Vicky.
And the tenant has entered into an agreement to pay you to open this store and has begun moving things in there already, I believe.
They have not paid me yet.
We
They,
paid the deposit.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they haven't technically paid to rent the property. I have let them go in and I'm just freshen up the house to their liking. But yes, that,
Okay.
yes, essentially.
And so you have a store, a shop, a business in Christiana,
I did at one point
and where was it located?
on Main Street.
There by the Miller's Grocery?
It was across the street at the bank.
Okay.
Mhm.
And you primarily did retail sales,
Mm-hmm.
and what did we sell there?
It was homemade food, clothing that was like homemade. We did a lot of homemade artisan type things.
There's just this thin line between antique stores and junk stores.
Yeah.
And we've tried to make sure that we have antique stores
This
in
is
there.
not a antique type. It's going to be more of like a lot of artisan, and there will be a little bit of antique, but it's not the junk stuff.
And when you say food, what do you mean food-wise?
Honey, sourdough bread, bottled salsas, things like that.
But not prepared food where you're cooking in a
No.
kitchen or doing anything like that. So you have to have shelf space inside, and you have a house that's 800 square feet,
I believe it's 900.
Almost 900.
900 square
Mhm.
feet.
And my store I had there was right at 800.
And you closed that store?
Yes.
What will be your hours of operation and how many days a week?
What we've talked about is Sunday and Monday being closed, Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 6, unless the restaurant would stay open until 8, which the new owners there are talking about that. And then on those days that they would stay open till 8, we would stay open till 8 with them on Friday or Saturday.
Would you give your full name for us so
Sure.
it could be on the record?
Deborah Solomon.
Does any of the board members have any more questions as far as this thing? Okay, Ms. Fan, Ms. Kimbrough, and, hold on, because they'll probably want to ask you to define, and I think you've done you defined your hours of operation, you defined the parking area, and all that, if I'm interpreting that correctly, all that will be, I'm gonna call it off-street parking. It will not be on Eb Joyce.
Oh, no, it will
You'll
not
have
be.
room to,
Yes.
been by that place about 1,000 times, but just don't remember how it looks.
Yes.
But, and when you, and I'll ask to clarify, Mr. White, when you say the lot there, and we all know how much wider 231's gotten, I'm assuming that there is a lot there, it is a lot of record, but it's so narrow, it's unusable. Is that correct in my, saying?
Well, I haven't measured it. You're talking about the vacant lot on the corner?
The intervening lot that actually separates this lot property from 231?
I haven't measured it, but
Give me a guess.
I would say that, yes, it would be challenging under the current regulations and setbacks and things like it being a corner lot, having 2 front setbacks, 2 deep front setbacks. I would think it would be very challenging to improve it unless they were to buy some adjoiner's property.
But it's basically unusable due to the right-of-way encroaching so far on where it used to be.
Yes, sir.
And and that makes it, even though it's a barrier lot, it's basically an unusable barrier lot as far as any foreseeable use of it.
Again, I didn't measure it, so,
I
but I believe that.
But
yeah.
it's doing a good job for what it's doing. They've got signage up there that's high visibility, so it has a solid use to it. I think Ms. Fan wants to address.
all right, yeah, and I'm sorry, Joanne, what you're going to do, you're going to have to come over here and talk to the microphone. I apologize. We used to be a little more informal, but technology has, oh, wait a minute, maybe we will bring the microphone to you. Here we go.
Just answer your
question, according to the tax
Excuse me,
roll,
wait a minute, Joanne, I know
Yes,
you
sir.
are.
Yes,
For the
wait.
record, would you please state your name?
Joanne Fan.
Yes, ma'am, and if you don't mind, tell us approximately where you live from this property.
Well, my property lies at 111 Edgeoise Road, which is directly behind this property and also behind Mrs. Kimbrough's lot. And what I wanted to let you know is, according to the tax roll, Miss Kimbrough's lot is 0.37 acres. So it's approximately the same size as that, but it is used for her business sign there. So there will be no parking on that lot nor any other activity on that lot.
Ms. Kimbrough, are you, do you have any, you don't have to if you don't want to, but.
What I really wanted to say is, due to liability, I do plan to put up a fence designating what is mine and what is there. I think you mentioned that also. And I thank you, Ms. Franklin, for giving us permission to remove the building. We did so, remove the fragments of the tree on your side and clean that up. And that's the only thing I really have to say is that there will be a fence designating the property line where the parking will begin. And like I say, due to liability, I don't want any parking on my lot.
All right, but your concern, I think she's addressed your concerns. That's the main thing. Do you have any other questions?
No, that's
Okay,
it.
Joanne, you got it? And if you think of something, throw your hand up. You've got plenty of time left. There's no rush. That's what we thought. A lot of times when this, she's,
Some of my questions have been answered, thank goodness. If this business should fail, or if the ladies decide not to operate there anymore, this is going to revert back to rental property. Would that be a correct statement?
That would be up to the owner.
Could it be used for residential property?
Yes, ma'am. It doesn't lose its current zoning. It's currently zoned A1, which is our agricultural forestry district. And literally every house in Bedford County, unless it's been in a part of a subdivision, is zoned A1. It's the same zoning that, it doesn't lose its zoning. What it does, if the Board of Zoning Appeals were to approve this, there's a right that the owner would have if they wanted to use it for the exact same purpose. It doesn't change the zoning, so it doesn't give them all the abilities or land uses that they would be allowed in, say, C1, commercial zoning property, just this one thing. And that's the difference between a Board of Zoning Appeals, a special exception with the Board of Zoning Appeals, and a rezoning. The rezoning, which requires a legislative procedure and the county commission to approve it, would allow that person to do anything that's listed in the list of allowed uses in that zone. Not this, though.
I understand that. Thank you, Mr. Chris. But would you tell the group exactly what could be done on that piece of property with this special exception? There are 5 things.
Okay.
I think this might be the point. A lot, and what, within our purview, when we grant a special exception like this, and oftentimes we do, and y'all have done a good job of outlining your business plan. You know, you got your business hours. We can make that part of the special exception. So that and her business hours that she defined, that's the business hours, that pretty well defined, closed Sunday and Monday. And then if they, is your question, I think, is if this business closes, does another business have the same right? We can also make the thing to restrict it, the business in there to, which I think is pretty specific what she's doing. So if she wanted to lease to another person that wanted to put a tattoo parlor in there, well, I'm using that, that's the exact reaction I wanted to get. So if someone wanted to put a tattoo parlor in there, that exception wouldn't apply. Does that make sense? That's assuming that the board makes those in our motion when we get to that, if and when we get to that point. The restrictions we put on reasonable restrictions we put on would stay with the property, and they would have to comply with that. And we could also, as Ms. Kimbrough, as far as the fencing and delineation of property lines, we could make that a requirement of the business as well. So you said you'd put a fence up, but you haven't. It would be a requirement on the business as part of their special exception. Now, did I confuse you?
No, but I've tried to do a little bit of studying after I got this letter from Mr. Chris. And through a special exception, to my understanding, and I may be wrong, there are 5 categories of a business that could be operated under this special exception. I need you to tell me what those are.
And so what this is, the application is for a neighborhood shopping facility, which is one of those 5 things. I don't have the list of the other things with me, but they're asking for that one thing, and we're real specific on the applications. They do have to ask for one thing, and they've applied for the neighborhood shopping facility. It's really the only one of the 5 that I think would be applicable to a special exception. And I think it's important too to note that special exceptions, what we call special exceptions in our book, other communities call conditional use permits. And I think it's important to understand that, because what the chairman was trying to explain is in a conditional use permit, which is the same as the special exception, they can add, for any Board of Zoning Appeals approval, they can add a list of conditions, operating hours, the amount of light emissions, like the type of lights that they could have, and make sure that they don't, have security lights that impact the way a person lives. It's important to note that these type of special exceptions are really they're morally more applicable in areas like out in the county where somebody wants to have a home-based business. And so the rules and regulations that they can apply are really to protect the neighboring property owners. And so if you had, say, if you lived next to it and you were concerned about a particular thing, you could voice that concern, and they could absolutely put that in the approval, that you couldn't do that one thing, or you couldn't do any of those things. But for the list of what's available to them as far as in that location, I think that one thing that neighborhood shopping facility was really the only thing that we could apply to them that would have been applicable. And so they've only applied for that one thing. Now, if it were zoned commercial, we have 2 different zoning classifications in the county, C1 and C2. That's a kind of an odd area because it's so close to the city limits and because it's kind of been commercialized over the years. But we have our C1 zoning is really the type of zoning that allows for retail type uses in the rural areas. So we don't allow things like car lots and things that are really more intense commercial uses in our C1 zoning classification. And our C2 zoning classifications are areas that we can only approve, or the county commission really only approves when they're more intense operations and they have to be close to the city limits in the county. They've not applied for either of those zonings, but if it were me, and if they were coming to me saying I wanted to get the property rezoned, I would think that our C1 would probably be the most, the most applicable type of zoning that they could apply for. So churches are considered commercial in use, but they don't have to be zoned anything because they're exempt by law from zoning. So that doesn't really think. But the mini storage warehouse is zoned C1. The restaurant's not. It's grandfathered in, so it's not zoned. It's probably zoned A1, I guess. But so when you run into grandfather things, it's totally different, as you know.
I understand, and not that I like it, but I understand that. But under the zoning resolution for Bedford County, it lists 5 things that this special exception could be allowed to go into operation on that property. That's what I want clarified to me. And that is household goods, clothing, food, hardware, and agricultural supplies. They're going to run a consignment shop. That's exactly what they're running. And that's what we are here to approve tonight. But should they decide to, in a year, 2 years, 5 years, close this shop down, are these the only categories that could go in that building under this special exception, which I understand flows with the property? Is that correct?
That is correct. And so, yes, I have those things in front of me, those 5 items. There's another provision, and our board members understand that. There's one provision in the zoning resolution that allows the Board of Zoning Appeals to approve something that's not listed specifically, but is close. And so when we have a situation with, like these ladies want to do, and it seems like a pretty rural type of commercial activity, if it's close to anything else that they could theoretically approve, that they have the power to do, we allow people to come and sort of voice their application and try to make the as best presentation as they can. And if they can win over this group of 4 tonight, normally 5, if they can win them over, then and get approval, then that's great for them. But we don't, at our level, at the staff level, we don't say, well, you don't fit 100% in this, but you're kind of close, so we're not going to allow you to do it. They still have the right to come in and make an application, and we just always make sure that if somebody wants to do it and they want to attempt to do it, we always try to make an avenue for them to be able to do it.
Okay, my next question is,
Let me
again,
answer, I think I can answer you, that's okay.
Okay.
Let me answer your question. I think when these 5 items, if we prove, and assuming whatever the motion is, if we approve their bids in their business plan, and I'm on a clothing, food, not for consumption on the premises, and I'll use the term handcrafts, I think that covers your whole, I'm going to use the term genre of everything you intend. If we make it specific to that, all of those other things, clothing, household goods, agricultural supplies, and hardware would not apply. It would not transfer to the next business unless they went through this procedure again, says, well, this didn't work, but we're going to open a knife trade shop now. It wouldn't apply in that it's hardware. Does that make sense? Yes, ma'am.
I just want to make sure that we are clear that we do have like glass items in there, like dishes and stuff like that. So that's like in
handcrafts.
I'm
trying to. I don't make the motions. They don't let me do anything here.
Yeah,
but I'm
it's
trying to make
different booths that are people bring in their stuff to resell. Are you Blake? Are you the one I talked to on the phone? Okay, I was trying to picture who is. No, so it's different booths that people bring in their stuff to sell. And yes, there are things like dishes, and so that's where under kind of the antique thing came. So I don't know how that is worded, because it is like resale of that.
Thank you. Again, you're clarifying your business, and I think that's what we want to do, is make sure we're clarified with what you want to do. Joanne, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Any more
no,
questions?
sir, that's fine. If I'm understanding correctly, that if we get them approved for a consignment shop, should they go out of business, someone else buy the property or whatever, and want to sell boots out of that, it would come back to the committee, whomever that might be at the time, and it have to be approved again for that sale of that product.
That's and again, I'm assuming they don't let me make motions.
I
It'll be
understand.
ever how the motion is formed, and a lot of times after we make the motion, we will adjust and form it just so it, like she brought out, sometimes she has glassware or dishes. We may need to broaden it enough so that's in there. In
our boutique. So in the boutique, there is boots and T-shirts and things like that people have made, or yeah, it's in the boutique part of it.
That'll be up to the wisdom of the boards. Yes, Mr.
Let
Clark.
me ask you something. Is anything going to be outside the building?
Not for sale outside. No,
I mean, nothing like tractors or lawnmowers or
no.
anything? Nothing?
No.
Nothing that's not, they have to go inside the building to see what's in there. There's nothing
Yes,
gonna be,
we did
no
think
booths or
about
anything
putting
outside.
we had thought about putting, if it's okay with the board, to put some rocking chairs on the front porch. And
Okay, let me clarify something.
We
real
don't
quick.
have to sell them, but
This property is inside the 231 North overlay, or what they call the Shelbyville Gateway Overlay District. And it's 1,000 feet deep, and it does not allow any outdoor displays of merchandise at all. And so I don't think that would be allowed.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's not something that we would approve.
Is there a opportunity for us to find a compromise with the new owners, that you guys could have a conversation that may be able to enlighten each other to where you could agree to do this, or do you think it's just going to be a problem?
I don't think it's going to be a problem, and I'm not here to oppose it. They have worked really hard. They're about ready to open up, as I understand it. And, you know, for what her use is, I do not have a problem.
You
I
wanted
think-
clarification.
Yes, I,
That-
don't,
okay.
I want a lot of clarification past them, okay? And
Myself and her have already, myself and both of them have already talked, and Miss Vicky also. And I was under the understanding from them, they're fine with us. It's past us if we ever leave that they're wondering about.
Ms.
So-
Paulson.
Ma'am, at this point in the county, we've initiated anybody that applies for a business license in the county has to come by our offices first. So if somebody came and asked for a business license at this address and they shut down, then we would know that it has this exception on it. And if it doesn't fall within these items, then we would not approve it, and then we would require them to go back in front of the BZA.
that's exactly what I wanted to hear somebody say tonight. Because according to your own resolution, these are the 5 categories that would be allowed
Absolutely.
with this zoning.
Yes,
Could-
ma'am.
Could be allowed. We can also restrict that some of
Yes.
them might not be allowed.
Yes. And the only concern I might have is the septic system, and, you know, they might speak more to that than I could. The prior renter had a lot of problems with the septic system. It's not going to be used as a residence now, so it's not going to have as much water flow going through it. You want to speak to that?
Love to speak to that. So I'm Kate. So I'm the owner, Katie Franklin. This is my father, Bill Warren, and we both physically pulled up the floor, replaced all the piping, and in addition to that, had somebody come out and replace the piping from the house, the clean out to the septic tank, and new toilet. I mean, we basically redid the whole thing. I have pictures on my phone if you want to see it, but I never.
I live next door.
I know.
I watch.
Yeah. So I mean, we really resolved that problem, and it was roots. It was the fall was not correct. I've learned more about sewer and septic and falls and what's not falling and number 1s and number 2s than I've ever wanted to know in my life. But it is working functionally now. But they did say that they probably would not be using it like a typical, you know.
No, we will only be
Yeah.
concerned if
Yeah.
we were to go back to a real piece of
Yeah,
property.
so we did the test, one flush, you see it come through the clean out, so, one flush.
The
It's
new
good.
pipe you put in,
Yes, ma'am.
the correct problem, is it connected to the field line? All of your pipes are connected to the tank, and then when it gets to the, it needs to be a field line out there. That's how I understand. And is that new pipe you put out there connected to
Yes.
your field line?
Yes, to the septic tank,
It's connected to the septic tank, it has to have field line out in the yard.
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, lines, Janet, okay.
We didn't replace any field line, just the main line going to the tank.
Where does the field line drain?
In the ground. I mean, it's been set up like that for years.
Yeah,
There is
far
field
as we
line, I
know.
understand from a prior owner out in that front yard, which has got to be really old as I am, okay? But the new pipe I saw put in goes out towards the
Mhm.
fence, which is close to my property line. And if it's not hooked to a field line, then at some point, if it gets too
Well,
much.
it comes out the tank.
Yes, ma'am. So what,
Through the
what,
field line.
so it comes out of the home through the pipe and then it goes into the tank. So the tank is more than likely, you know, closer to your home. And so she was saying the fall, it has to have, you know, a constant path down. And so it seems like the pipe had drooped, they replaced that pipe, and then it goes into the tank. And then I'm assuming from the tank, it probably shoots into the front yard, like you were saying, where it is.
My question
Yeah.
is, shoot into the front yard, and if the pipe's going out this way, the water's going this way, my driveway's open.
Right, it hits the tank, and then from the tank, it comes out a different direction out of the tank, and then, like, whatever way it would go. So I'm assuming it would come out of the tank toward the front yard.
Okay, so I think it's important to note that for the county, and when we issue permits, that we would consider that, you know, a pre-existing home, and it has a pre-existing system. So for us, the zoning is, we just assume that it works. And if you guys have had an inspection on it, it wouldn't be a bad idea to note two things. One, have an inspector come out there and check to see if the second half of the system is functional, because if you had roots in the tank and roots that were interfering with the pipe, it wouldn't be a bad idea to check if your students have the same problem with the field lines and that they're actually working. That's not something that we do. That would be through a septic repair permit through the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation. The second thing to note, it was really important, is if, like Ms. Joanne says, if you've got your field lines are in the front yard, don't let people park in the front yard, because if it's functional, then it soon will not be functional. So does that make sense?
The driveway's on the other side of the house at this point.
Yeah.
Also, too, let's see, the tank, I mean, it's been there for years, and we were told, or I wasn't there when she bought the house, but there was supposed to be like a trailer or something on the other side of the house that they hooked to this septic tank. When they moved the trailer, they just left the pipe open, and that's where it started coming into the tank, going into the tank. So we had all that replaced.
Well, I'm glad you know
from
that,
the house
but
to the tank.
I'm just letting you know, if there's a
Yeah.
problem, if something happens and the system is not working like it needs to work, you need to get a septic repair permit with TDEC, so that way you have a professional who can come out and,
Yeah.
and
That-
look at
that's who
it
put-
and make sure that it's repaired correctly.
That's who put the pipe in. They were septic tank, Middle Tennessee septic. The ones that replaced it.
I have two things I'd like to ask, just to clarify. I just want to make sure that you were saying that, you know, you would be doing the paper or whatever. We wouldn't be doing that Friday and Saturday night till 6 right now, but it wouldn't be long if the restaurant, I have talked to the new restaurant owner, they want to start staying open till 8 Friday and Saturdays, and when they do, we want permission to be able to do that with them on Friday and Saturday night, stay open till 8.
I think you were clear in your statement. You
Yes,
initially,
clear in my statement on
six-
that.
6 till,
Second-
but if the restaurant started staying open, you would match the restaurant's hours.
Yes.
I think you did make that statement.
Okay. Second, we wanted to ask, are we allowed, and I guess that would be up to them if they have a complaint, or, you know, if you have a problem with it. We would like to do, like, maybe some events each month, like 1 month. Are we allowed to do that? Maybe just even a singer on the front porch playing the guitar in the chair. You know, I did that at my other store, and that's why I'm asking. Can we just have like a guitar player singing? Or the restaurant and myself have talked this morning, and we'd like to coincide some events maybe together where we can build up our two stores together. I need permission for that.
Mr. Chairman, if they had commercial zoning, absolutely, they'd be able to do something like that. But with a special exception and with what you guys are allowed to approve, I don't think that you guys can approve that through this procedure. That said, I don't, if they had a guy with an acoustic guitar on the inside and he just happened to be playing when they had something going on, I don't see that that would be a problem if he's just providing light music for their patrons or whatever. But so having somebody outside, first of- yeah,
count the
that's
front
a
porch also?
little above, I think, what
You
guys.
end up with more than 6 cars. You end up with more than 6 cars.
That's true.
But the restaurant, since they're grandfathered commercial, they'd be
could do it
free,
over
they, that would be within, their permitted purview, because they're, for grandfathered means they've been commercial since it was
Yeah,
Junior's
we were
Garage.
grandfathered in at Miller's also, so that's-
That continues on, and we can't,
Right.
yeah, it has.
Okay.
One last thing, we're not being hard on you. We're not taking up for somebody else. We've worked really hard to maintain this rural character that we have in this county, and we've been very specific to Director White's work and planning that we have specific areas to which we'll allow commercial growth, but we don't want it all creeping all the way down, and we're trying to stop the creep, and not you, trying to stop the creeping growth that goes out there. And this is a test case on there, and that's why we're spending this time on it, because we want we want to keep what we've got and maintain that. And if we let one come in, then another one, and that's why we're questioning not about your motives, not about who you are. We're glad you're here. We just want to make sure everybody has a chance to speak to this, and we all have a chance to understand the big picture that we're trying to accomplish here. So don't take anything personal that we've said. We're just asking the questions we have to ask.
Well,
No,
that's exactly why I asked about the events, because we didn't want to go ahead with that and then get, not know that we couldn't.
And we absolutely appreciate the feedback and sharing your comments. And I will say the chicken farm across the street, like directly, is definitely a site for sore eyes, but it's closed down and it's just sitting there. So I don't know if anything
We
else.
also protect agriculture at every
Yeah.
expense, and as long as it's agriculture, we want them there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it's important to note that the state does not allow local government to regulate farming activity or religious activity. So those two things, as long as it's legitimate farming activity and religious activity, that's off the table for us anyway. So it may be an eyesore and maybe they're not functional, but if they wanted to start a chicken poultry barn right back up, they could, without zoning or permits or anything.
Mr. Lee, could I be clear on one thing? You said that if we wanted to do an event, if the restaurant approved it, we can do it there because it's grandfathered. Is that correct?
On the restaurant's property.
On the restaurant property. That's what I'm asking. On the
I
restaurant.
was trying to make that clear, that they fall in a totally different category since they've been there all along. So-
Gotcha. Gotcha.
And for all practical purposes, they are zoned commercial since they're grandfathered in. It's
Gotcha. I just wanted to be
historically has
clear.
been.
I just wanted to be clear.
Okay,
But you still could be open during that time.
Yes, yes.
and you can coordinate, but again, I think what Mr. White was being clear, that your exception wouldn't cover to that specific thing.
I got you.
Okay.
I got you.
Board members, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make the motion to approve this with the conditions that these 5 things that have been brought up are met strictly. And if they are not met, then they gotta come back to us. I'm gonna try to take care of everybody, you might say, at the time. I wanna take care of the applicants, I'm gonna take care of the neighbors. And if somebody has a problem with that, we'll give you 1 more minute to speak, but, is that clear? Is my motion clear?
I have a motion. I would, to approve the special exception for this property, and restricting it to, and are we gonna restrict it that fight, or you wanna restrict it to the items that she specifically, Ms. Solomon's outlined? Clothing, food not for consumption on the premises, handcrafts, glass and china. Am I broad enough? And we restrict it to that, And also make your hours of operation, would you consider hours of operation, which I think you stated Sunday and Monday closed, Tuesday through Saturday, opening till 6 or 8 if the restaurant opens up, that gives you, open up. Also make your parking restricted to on-site,
In that part.
on-site in that parking area. And we also would you make the fencing being a requirement to delineate property lines? Would you make? All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second by Mr. Hart. Is my motion clear, Ms. Bowman? Is the motion clear enough?
Can that fence be put on the property line? And will it be a joint cost, or how are we gonna do that?
We can make again, y'all are neighbors, and what's the board want to do? I understand the question. We're making delineating the property line and restricting, I think, as you stated, some mechanism to restrict access so people aren't pulling onto yours and Ms. Kimbrough's property.
Mr. Chairman, the county allows people to put fences on the property line, directly on the property line. And in cases where you've got neighbors that have maybe, say, a privacy fence or something like that, Most of the time, we make a recommendation that it may be set off a foot or two, just so they have the ability to maintain both sides of the fence. Whoever owns the fence, whoever's going to put the fence up, is going to need to maintain that fence, and that way they don't, because if they ever have a future owner that maybe they don't get along with, they wouldn't have to trespass in order to maintain the fence, because if they put up a fence, the county would love for them to keep that fence maintained. As far as the cost being shared or just bore by them, I think the BZA is going to make, I think it sounds like to me, you're going to put it in your motion that the fence be put up by the applicant, because that's a requirement that they can have. If you guys wanted to cost share with that, that would be up to y'all. It would be a personal decision that you guys would make. It wouldn't be part of the order, I don't think, because I don't think we could require that.
There's no livestock back there, am I correct? Am I, okay, I'd make sure. So when we're talking about a fence, it could be one of those PVC plank, just, yeah, something, okay. I just, Robert Frost.
At what distance I want it, either the property line or few feet, not feet. I don't want to do feet. Few inches.
That's your property.
That's my
your property.
So I have permission to do that, right?
That's your property.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Again, I think that's the case. We don't want to be too specific, because I think, sounds like y'all are going to get this worked out. But what we are, I think the motion by Commissioner Street was, we are requiring that some fencing and delineation of property lines. And I think y'all outlined that you didn't want them, and people driving there, they don't know where the line is, but if they got to drive over a 6x6, they can say, well, maybe I don't need to do that. So I think y'all use your judgment. I think we are is the motion required fencing, and we're kind of leaving that open. I have a motion. I have a second by Mr. Hart. Is the motion clear, Ms. Palmer? Are we clear? Any further questions by board members? Y'all ready to vote? All in favor? Opposed? No. Okay, Mr. Vic, opposed, no. Motion passes 3-1. Thank you. I know we're gonna get exciting from here on, but if you choose to leave, it won't make us mad. Cody West. Mr. West. All right. Cody West, 3300 Highway 82 East, tax map 035, parcel 019.08, a total of 15.46 acres. It's zoned A1. Mr. Staff.
The applicant seeks approval of a special exception to allow construction of a guest house / pool house classified as a accessory dwelling unit, ADU, as we call it, is short, as regulated under Article 4, Section 4041 C30, with applicable specific use regulations. So, Mr. West has an in-ground pool, and to the eastern side of that pool, he had probably a 300 or 400 square foot pool house that was for pool equipment. And so what he's asking to do is to take that down and come back with, I think it's roughly about 700 square foot of heating and
right
cool.
under 1,000.
And so, and it's also going to have his pool equipment. And so that's what is looking for.
Site plan meet your approval as far as floor plan and everything else?
Everything meets our approval. It's under the 1,100 square feet, one bedroom.
He's aware of the restrictions on rentals?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's really close behind his house.
Any of Mr. Cody West other than myself here, neighbors? Any comments, public comments? Questions, board? What's your pleasure? Have a motion approved by Commissioner Street.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Vick. You've been second. Y'all ready to vote? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Good luck, sir.
Thank you, guys.
for the record, Mr. West is one of our neighbors out there, so we don't ever speak, we just wave going by. Mr. Jane Cape. 480 Walnut Grove Road, tax map 003, parcel 01301. Property contains approximately 7 acres and is zoned A1. The owner requests a special exception to build, permit a guest house and accessory dwelling. Staff.
We recommend approval, subject to the applicant meeting all the applicable requirements. So we're approved.
Any Mr. Cap's neighbors here? Any comments? Did we get any comments? Pleasure of the board. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. I'm sorry. Okay. You want to identify yourself for the record? Okay, all right, thank you. All right, what's the pleasure of the board? Motion by Commissioner Street to approve.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Vick. All in favor? Pass unanimously. Good luck. You brought your neighbors with you. Good to approve. Thank you. Thank you, young lady. I'm sorry, Commissioner Three, second by Commissioner Vick. Pass unanimously. Daniel and Dixie Carter. 333 Highway 231 South, tax map 136, parcel 01903. Property consists of approximately 5.31 acres and zoned A1. The owner requests a special exception to permit a guest house. Staff.
I just want to point out that it seems like we have a lot today, but we've missed 2 prior meetings due to weather and illness, and so we usually have about 1 a meeting, so they just kind of all convoluted together. With that being said, the same thing for the Carters. They understand they have the septic available for them. Under 1,100 square feet, 1 bedroom. Staff recommends approval.
You're doing a good job. You're doing a good job. Motion by Commissioner Three. Second by Mr. Hart. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass unanimously. All right. Brian Kilgore is the owner. Maria Hernandez is applicant. 2183 Fairfield Pike, tax map 058, parcel 031.00. Property contains approximately 1.62 acres and zoned A1. The applicant requests approval for a home occupation business type 2 and proposes the construction of a 30 by 60 building on the property. Staff.
A type 2 home occupation requires a minimum 5 acres. This parcel does not meet the minimum acreage requirement. The parcel is also a corner lot at Fairfield Pike and Noble Road and is subject to 2 front setbacks, 50 feet each, 1 rear setback of 40, and 1 side setback of 25. Total lot area is approximately 74,000 square feet. The A1 bulk standards allow maximum built area of approximately 30% or 22,000 square feet. Existing improvements plus the proposed structure would total approximately 5,600 square feet. Staff recommends denial of the application due to the failure to meet the type 2 home occupation.
The lot's too small.
Yes, the lot's too small. Yeah.
We are under obligation that we have to follow the rules. And if they didn't come under the rules, we can't do this. And if it's under 5 acres, which this is, we have no choice really but to deny that. So I'm going to move that we deny the recommendation.
Motion by Commissioner Vick. Second by Mr. Hart. All in favor? Aye. Pass unanimously. Mike Matthews, Trey Stewart applicant. This is 308 Hannah Street. Tax map 038J. Parcel .00 parcel contains approximately 1 acre and zoned A1. Applicant requests a front setback variance of 15 feet and side setback variance of 12 feet on each side. And we would note this, we do this often. This is the Ransom Stevenson edition with non-compliant lots, but if you can get a house in there, we're gonna do our best to work with you. All right, staff.
The property is located at Bell Buckle near the intersection of Hannah Street and Harlan Street. It's grandfathered, non-conforming lot of record with a narrow shotgun configuration and otherwise not reasonably buildable without setback relief. Staff recommends approval consistent with prior BZA actions on the area similarly situated lots.
Mr. Matthews here. Come forward a minute. How long have you owned this lot?
3 years.
And what are you doing on it now?
Nothing.
What do you want to do with it?
I don't want to do it. Sell it. Trey Stewart wants to buy it and build a house on it.
Such a mess in that whole, not you, in that whole area.
Yeah.
It's just an absolute nightmare.
Right. And I had it owner financed to somebody that just disappeared. I don't know where she went. So the old house that was there was falling down. So I tore it down. So now it's an empty lot. It has existing water and existing septic on it. So,
Septic or sewer? Is it its own sewer, isn't it?
yeah, it's on sewer.
Yeah, yeah,
I
because we
was
did
gonna say septic. I
did
meant
a
sewer.
rehab there about
Yeah.
40 years ago.
Yeah, it's
on
sewer and it has
Yeah.
water on it. The power pole is right at the road, right in front of the lot there, so.
You're getting the exception so he can build a house.
Correct.
That answers your question. Okay.
I'm getting exceptions so I can sell it.
And he's gonna build a house or put a trailer? You
I
gonna
don't
put a
care what he
trailer on
does
it?
with it after that. No,
You're
I'm
gonna
just
build a
kidding.
house?
Yeah,
I'm just asking.
sure.
Yeah, then I will move to.
Motion made to special exception within these requirements. To have a second.
Second.
Second from Mr. Reed. All in favor? Aye. Pass unanimously. Good luck, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Unless there's any other business, I move to adjourn.
I have a second by Mr. Hart. All in favor? Aye.